There's a growing number of churches and theologians out there that are trying to do away with invitation, and they're trying to do away with giving that gospel invitation to individuals. And as they're doing this, they're trying to rewrite basic Bible study of certain verses within the Word of God that we've always taken as a traditional invitation from God. For instance, John chapter 1 and verse 12, and also a very popular one today that they're trying to rewrite the meaning of is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20. Now, in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20, they're taking away very basic, very simple Bible study skills and trying to rewrite the understanding of this and saying that it has nothing to do with the gospel invitation. Revelation 3:20. So let's just read it for just a moment and say, okay, well, is this a gospel invitation from Jesus Christ himself to individuals? Because what they say, you can't give this to individual, you have to give it to the churches, to the church of Laodicea, and not to an individual. So let's just read for a moment what Jesus said. Jesus said in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him." Him, singular, him. I will come into him, and I will dine with him. I will dine with him, and he with me. See, it's really not that complicated, is it? It's not complicated at all when we begin to think about it, and just apply very basic Bible study skills to these texts of scriptures. But what their purpose is, their bad theology is trying to override good doctrine and good Bible study skills. And so when we look at this, they say, well, you're taking that out of context. It's intended for the church. Well, Jesus said that, and obviously it's for the individual. His wording was very much for the individual. But when you hold it into its biblical context, yes, Jesus is talking to the 7 churches of Asia right here. But if you do a proper Bible study, and that you find at the end of every single one of those individual letters to the churches, yes, they were to the churches, Jesus then closes every single one of them, all 7 of them off, with an individual invitation to the individual that can only be applied. It cannot be applied to the whole church. It can only be applied to the individual. So what is the purpose of me trying to tell you this? The purpose of me trying to tell you this is, friends, you need to know that Jesus gave invitations. Jesus gave invitations all through the Gospels. Right here in the book of Revelation, Jesus continually gave invitations. Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So continually Jesus gave those invitations. Why does Jesus give invitations? Because Jesus wants people to be saved. And since Jesus wants people to be saved, Jesus gives those gospel invitations for people to come to him and receive him in accordance to their own free will. And so we don't need to allow bad theology to override good basic Bible study. And so if Jesus gave the gospel invitation, friends, we need to be giving a gospel invitation, not just behind a pulpit, not just during a church service, but to everyone we see, everywhere we go. We need to be giving that gospel invitation, because if Jesus gave the invitation, he gave it because he is desiring for people to be saved. If that's his heart, that ought to be our heart as well. We need to give those gospel invitations for people to not come to us, but come to Jesus Christ for everlasting salvation.